Do you wish you could get a lower interest rate? Well, stay tuned because I've got 4 tips on how to get a lower interest rate right now. You know, nobody likes a 7% interest rate. But what if there were some things you could do right now to get that rate lower and help you to buy the home you've been dreaming of? But before we jump in, hey, comment below and let me know what content you'd like to see me create. If you've got questions about buying or selling a home, or questions about the market, or anything like that, comment below and I'll be choosing some of your questions to produce future content so that I'm making the stuff that really helps you the most. Well, let's get into those 4 tips on how to lower your interest rate right now. The best thing you can do right now, I'm leading right out of the gate with this, is an interest rate buy down. Now, with the way the market is, many homes are selling and buyers are closing with the ability to either get a discount on the price or a credit at closing towards their closing costs. And what smart buyers are doing right now is they're getting a credit instead of a lower price. I know we all get fixated on price and we're trying to get the best deal, but where the rubber hits the road for most people is how much they're going to pay per month. Because most people aren't keeping that home for 30 years. And so while a lower principal balance is great, a lower monthly payment really helps with the bills and really goes farther, because again, most people aren't staying 30 years in that home. So if you can get a credit from the seller and buy down your interest rate, in general, you're going to save about 3 times the amount of money than if you take that same amount of money off of the price of the home when you buy it. So here's a scenario where a buyer recently was considering making an offer at $15K lower than the asking price, and then it was analyzed against $15K of taking that towards a credit and buying down that rate. So the big difference here was if they got $15K off the price, they were going to save about $99 a month. That's pretty good. But if they took the $15K and bought down the rate, it was going to save them $331 a month compared to what they would have saved. So guys, that's over 3 times the difference. It's the same net to the seller. So the seller, whether he takes $15K off the price or whether he gives a $15K credit, they're netting the same amount. But for a buyer, they're saving substantially more money per month in their monthly payment if they buy down that interest rate. So let me encourage you, with the market the way that it is, many buyers now are having that option of either getting a lower price or getting a credit at closing. I'm telling you, take that money, get a credit at closing, use the seller's money to buy down that interest rate, because it's going to save you a lot of money. It's going to get you a better interest rate, and there have been scenarios where buyers have been able to go from that 7% rate on average, is what is available right now for a lot of people. Again, depending on what type of credit you have and all the things, right? They've got to be able to go all the way down to 5%. Now, I think 5% is probably where we get to at some point with a stable rate and something that makes buyers, more eager to get into the market. So when we get to that 5%, there's going to be a flood to market of buyers and there's going to be another pricing war. So by using a seller's money now and buying down your rate, there's a good chance that you can get to a rate where you won't even need to refinance later. It's going to save you money that way. And you're going to be able to buy a home now when it's not the competitive pricing wars that are going to come when rates finally do get down, hopefully, at some point, to around 5%. So this is a huge strategy that buyers are using right now, and I would encourage you, if you're saying, I just can't buy right now, I just don't know, I'm waiting for rates to come down. Stop waiting and start using the seller's money to buy your rate down. You're going to be in a way better scenario. You can get into your home sooner and start building equity. You can avoid the pricing war that's going to come if we ever do get down to around 5% because of all the buyers that have been waiting for so long. It's going to be crazy when it happens, but you can choose now a way better scenario and save yourself quite a bit of money. All right, the next tip I've got for you to help you get a lower interest rate right now is the type of loan that you choose. So there's 3 main loan types: conventional, FHA, and VA. An FHA and a VA loan in general are about half a point lower on an interest rate than a conventional loan under the current conditions. So again, disclaimer that it depends on your credit, it depends on all the things, right? But in general, an FHA or a VA loan is going to be about a half a point less than a conventional loan right now. So just by choosing a different type of loan, you can get yourself a better rate. Now you've got to be a veteran to get the VA, but just about anybody can qualify for that FHA. The big difference here when considering between a conventional and an FHA or a VA is that if you anticipate a competitive scenario where there might be multiple offers, a seller does look a little more highly in general at a conventional loan because there's less potential for costs and expenses than with a VA or an FHA loan. Because those FHA and VA loans, they've got a safety inspection that comes along with the appraisal. It's not a home inspection, it does not a substitute for a home inspection at all, but an appraiser on an FHA or a VA loan can come through and call out some things that need to be repaired. So when a seller's considering the two, there is some potential cost that may come along with that. So I'm just sharing that if you're choosing one of those loan types, FHA or VA, be aware that if you're anticipating a competitive situation with a couple offers on the table, that oftentimes is a factor in what offer the seller chooses to go with. Of course, at the end of the day, they care about the price, right? So be competitive there. But if you have the opportunity to go with an FHA or VA, you are in general going to get a lower rate. And if there's still going to be a competitive scenario, you can still choose one of those loan types and then offer to make some of the repairs or all of the repairs or a set dollar amount of repairs if any come back from the FHA appraiser. If it's a real clean property, most rate agents know the handful of things that an appraiser might call out on an FHA and a VA loan. So your buyer's agent should be dialoguing with that listing agent to have that conversation and helping them to see, man, this is a beautiful property. I can't imagine anything would come up, but hey, my buyer can do this, a certain dollar amount or all the fixes that may come up if needed. So make sure your agent's having that dialogue because that can go a long way towards getting that loan type that's a little bit lower of a rate and still beating out a conventional loan if you're in a competitive situation. All right, the next best thing you can do to lower your interest rate right now is to put more money down. Increase your down payment, okay? So if you can get 25% down, that puts you into the highest tiered level that a lender looks at, and they say, wow, we can give them a better rate because they're in the highest tier. Now, not everybody has 25% to put down on the purchase of their home, right? If you can get into 20% down, well, that's also great because you get into the upper level tier. You'll also eliminate PMI, private mortgage insurance. That's the money that gets charged to a buyer when they finance a home as a risk that the lender takes. So it's charged to you. It's a part of your monthly payment. If you can get at least 20% down, not only does it give you one of the better rates, but it's also going to eliminate that PMI and it's going to lower your overall monthly payment. So if you can get to one of those, that's great. Again, big caveat, if you've got money to spend or you're getting a credit from the seller, use the money to buy down your rate. That really is the best thing you can be doing right now. But if you've bought down that rate already with either your own money or some money from the seller as a credit at closing, then the next thing, one of the other things you can do is go ahead and put some more money down because more money down shows more security, it's less risk for the lender, and they're going to give you a better rate. So consider increasing your down payment. All right, and the fourth tip that you can use right now to lower your interest rate is improving your credit score. Now I say this one for last because this one is a little bit more of a long-term play. So if you want to improve your credit score, it generally doesn't happen overnight, but I do want to be able to give you some tips that can help you so that you're maintaining the credit score that you have and not messing that up. Or if you do want to improve it, some steps you can be taking right now to improve that credit score, because credit score is a huge factor on what a rate that a lender will give you when purchasing a home. It's just not something you can fix or improve overnight. But there are some things you can do to maintain what you have and some steps you can take that over time will improve your credit score. So number one, try to stay between 5 to 10% of your available credit. Try not to use more than that for your credit cards and such. If you can stay within that window, that's gonna give you a higher credit score. Now, when you get above 10% and significantly when you're above 30%, that begins to hurt your credit score. So it is good to use some credit. Don't go in the opposite direction, because if you're not using any credit at all, then that actually hurts your credit score. The creditors want to see that you are using credit, that you are making payments, that you have been good for those things. That builds your credit. So try to stay in that 5 to 10% window. It's going to help make you have the best score possible and not lower your points. Making payments on time. We all want to be able to do that. Life happens, guys, so I get it. But the most that you can do to make your payments on time all the time, that helps your credit score as well. So anytime we're missing a payment or late on a payment, that can get reported to the credit bureaus, and that hurts your credit. So do your best to make them on time, and certainly don't let them get into collections, because that can really tank your credit pretty quickly. So make sure you're using your credit wisely, build that credit, use it a little bit, but make your payments on time and stay within that 5 to 10% window to help boost your credit score. Well, I hope this video has been helpful for you. Next week, stay tuned, because we're going to talk about how you should be interviewing an agent to sell your home. So many people choose someone that's a family member or a friend or someone that somebody told them about, and they don't even ask them any questions. Guys, the biggest frustrations I get when I help people sell their home, and the horror stories they tell me, is when they just chose someone because they knew them or someone referred them to them. You need to ask some really good questions. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the only good agent out there, there's lots of us. But ask some good questions to make sure you're not just working with somebody that feels good to you, because sometimes your emotions can lead you the wrong way. You need to ask some pointed questions, and if you'll ask these questions, not only will it cause that agent to work harder for you, but you'll be able to see whether they're just someone that uses the 3 Ps, where they put a sign in the yard, they pray, and they put it on the MLS, and that's all you're getting. You'll ask some questions that will help you to find that out, and make sure you make a good decision when you're hiring someone to sell your home. Well, my name is Jim Hare, owner of Hare Homes Realty Group, Keller Williams, Greater Omaha. If you've been considering making a move, or you know someone who is, we'd love the opportunity to show you why we're one of the top groups in the area, and why all of our past clients have given us 5-star reviews. If you're considering a move, watch for the number right after this on the next slide. You can text or call me. We can set up a time to answer your questions, put some information in your hands. We've got seller info packets and buyer info packets that help you to know what you should expect when buying and selling a home, and to know a bit more about who we are. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you, and have an amazing day.